Welcome to episode 147 of Both Down, the number one Blood Bowl podcast.
From the town of Strattenheim.
This is Steve, aka Kilowagi. With me, as always, is Scott Prime. How's it going?
Hey, everybody. I'm in Strattenheim.
Are you really in Strattenheim?
No.
Where's
I'm in
Strattenheim?
it is, hold on, I'm going to back out of this map. It is just east of Taliban. No, I'm saying that wrong.
Okay.
It might be Talibhain,
Taliban?
which is Talab, Heim, which is in the land of Palembek land. Palembek land.
None of that helps.
Talbec. Oh, which is
Just
further east of
fantasy geography today.
yeah, it's further east than Altadorf on the old world map.
Oh, okay.
It's between Altadorf and Ostermark.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I got that. I've been there.
Ostland is up to the north, and then Averland is, to the south.
You know, at one
where all
point
that's at?
when we were doing the podcast, we didn't always do a physical place. We just kind of fell into that hole. Because it used to be the number one Blood Bowl podcast, that blah, 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 or that does blah, blah, blah. We did different things.
Yeah, I know. We've turned into, we have to have a location.
Yeah.
And a mascot. So, welcome to the Strattenheim's spiders.
There we go. Regular spiders, not Arctic crack spiders.
No. That's why they didn't make it.
That makes sense. So how have you been?
Pretty good. I guess good. Maybe I'm not good. Maybe that was one of those depressed I'm doing great things.
I need a hug. Okay, well.
It's actually been stressful around here. We have I have a nephew graduating from high school. Jennifer's son Parker's graduating from high school. I have a child who likes to ditch school. I have another child who let me tell you something. The COVID kids don't want no school. They're like, well, I did everything online. What does it matter?
COVID adults are like that too, because I don't want to work in office.
I know. I really fear for 20 years from now they're gonna have news things about, remember this generation? We were the latchkey kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And we got effed up in whatever ways, or maybe there's some good things. And I'm not saying everything with these kids that lived through COVID as children are going to turn out bad. That's not what I mean.
No,
I'm just saying there is going to be some social effect of it for sure.
Oh yeah.
That they'll, in 60 years they'll be talking to some 70-year-old lady who's talking about it or whatever. But I can't imagine living through, the world's coming to an end plague, which is how the news media made it out to be for a long time. So,
well, if we didn't get the vaccine, then yeah, kind of was.
So
if it keeps mutating, who knows? But
so I'm very much worried about all our children, and it's just been hectic with family and going to graduation. There's 75 events that I don't remember me going through as a child, but I know I must have. But you have this event and this luncheon, and then you got to go to there's awards things and Eden has band things, and
there was growing up. There was if you were in band or a group, you had a dinner. That was pretty much it.
Yep, we did that for Wakeland.
And then for graduation, we had rehearsal and then graduation, and that was it. There was no other BS. But now,
I talked to my dad. Did you not have a little graduation get together before graduation night?
Nope.
I talked to my father on Friday when I saw him at my nephew's, and he said, yes, we had a little get together at the house, and it was just mainly family. And I was like, okay, I just don't recall it.
Oh, no, I didn't do that. Nobody cared about me enough, so that's fine.
Well, you were the very, very, very last child.
Yeah. And even to me, it's it graduated high school. Big deal. You have to. What's it matter? I didn't want to go to my graduation.
That's kind of how I felt too. So,
anyways. I had the only gift I got from graduation was my brother Greg got me, and if someone else got me something, if they're listening somehow, I just forget. Um, but he got me a JanSport backpack, like a nice one
Ooh,
for college to put books in. And I'm like,
ooh.
this is awesome. I used that backpack religiously up until I bought a better one to go to World Cup 4 years ago. That's how long
That's
I
really
used
cool.
it.
Well, that's a he got you a good solid backpack,
It
my
was
friend.
great. But yeah, anytime I did a day trip, I just, loaded up with clothes, went down to Dallas, whatever. It was awesome.
Speaking of World Cup,
Yeah.
since we're being chitty chatty, how long until that happens?
Beginning of September is when it happens. And
Okay,
so
I
not
was just curious
too
about that.
long. And they haven't officially released the numbers yet, but it's over 2,200 people.
Jesus Christ, dude!
Yeah. Um,
I'd be crapping bricks if we ever hit 100 people at one of our events that we had to run. I can't imagine like times 22 of that. So
we'll hit 100 eventually. May not be this year because everyone seems to be slowing down. And maybe not because there's so many freaking tournaments going on now. Before it was like, yeah, we would drive to Austin because that was the closest tournament besides ours. And now, people like, we've got 5 tournaments in Houston. We got 3 in Austin. We got 2 in San Antonio. We got,
oh,
you
there's
know,
a ton
like,
now in those little Texas cities because
yeah.
I
Well,
mean they just are.
of course.
And
Um,
some and don't take offense to this, Floridians. Some of it could be like the Florida effect, where you try a league, and people are busy. But if you try, 6 to 7 tournaments throughout the year, your people can make
yeah.
some time and show up to a tournament. So, I mean, I think at least that's what I heard. I can't remember if I'm. Don't quote me on this because I could be wrong. Jim Luff can chime in or anything like that at any point. But I thought the idea was is like, yeah, we can't. It's hard to get people into a weekly, type or a monthly league. So we
Hmm.
just do tournaments, and then people, the 30 people. There's always 18 of them free to show up for tournaments. So we have some nice little, attendance for events and stuff. So I we were talking about this actually not too long ago, me and Gary and stuff about like how many events and stuff are down there in Texas, especially in like Houston. Like,
Yeah.
and I said, yeah, it's kind of got the Florida effect, and he didn't know what I meant by that, and I didn't mean it like in a degrading way whatsoever. I mean, it would be awesome to have, you know, 8 tournaments around here that we weren't running, so I could just either go or not go.
Well,
So
it's possible. And that's the thing is, I was talking to someone at the tournament I went to, and I basically told him, it's tournaments require someone to run one consistently, and then others will pop up. That's
mm-hmm.
always been the case.
Sure.
Like, and conversely, like when Johnny and Extreme got out of it, the Midwest tournament kind of collapsed some
Yeah.
because those
I
two are
mean,
not
at least
running as
from
many
my
tournaments, so it doesn't seem there may be some up there still, but or up here, but it's a lot less.
yeah. I mean, for a while that was the hotbed. So
Yeah.
at least from our perspective, I mean, I could be wrong. Somebody might chime in and say, "Hey, man, we still run a ton of tournaments," but yeah, it feels like when Johnny Extreme kind of stopped, Mike started slowing down, and when you get your like pillars
Mm-hmm.
stop running events, then it kind of goes down. So that's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, ebbs and flows, ebbs and flows. So
Of course.
speaking of ebbs and flows, it's not really ebbs and flows, but our Blood Bowl League is still 22 strong.
That's crazy.
I must admit that I'm very worried about this month because either other people's got caught up in weddings and graduations and stuff all
Yeah,
like
of
this
course.
too.
Yeah.
That there's a lot more games left to be played at the end of this month than there ever has been. So I just don't know if people are getting caught up with life. But I think we still got like 8 games left, and we're recording this on May 21st. So which is unusual. We still have like I said, 8, 9 games left to be played out for this month of May. But yeah, 22 people still. I think almost everybody is ready for the playoffs. I think they got their looking right now at my league. I got one person, 2 people, 3, 4. I only have 4 people who haven't played 7 or more games
Hmm.
to qualify for the playoffs. So, and the other ones should make it, by the end of the season if everything gets played. Um, Nobody's canceled a game yet, thank God.
That's cool.
And I'm in first place with my Nurgle team, and I'm telling you, I think I never like to lose, so be careful what I'm saying here. But I know I am gonna lose. But let me tell you something. Being 9 games in and haven't lost yet with Nurgle, the pressure is getting so high that like I thought I was gonna have a heart attack last game.
Have you played Drew
But
yet?
I have not played Drew yet.
Okay.
It's you don't play a lot of you don't smell some people at all with when you're only going to play maybe maximum 11 games and there's 22 people in your league.
Hmm.
It's just because I
Yeah.
do it all random. I just random it up
Yeah.
with some dice and then pair people up. And if somebody's already played, I just move down to the next person to start pairing them up. And it's so far nobody's played anybody twice because I have a rule that like for the first half of the season you won't, and
Yeah.
at most you might play somebody again because
I mean, with that many
sometimes the
people, you
schedule's
shouldn't
hard.
have to.
Yeah, with this many people, we're going to make it again for the second straight year of not playing anybody the same.
And so what you're saying is you're dodging Drew.
I'm dodging Drew,
Okay,
yes.
that makes
I
sense.
actually don't roll dice for me.
Yeah.
I pick the lowest people I haven't played yet,
Uh,
and then I play them.
I mean, that's what they call commissioner privilege.
This is the second time I've had to give this BS because Gary was giving me a hard time yesterday, too. And yet, he hasn't played Drew either,
Of
so screw
course.
him.
Well, he
Um,
is your friend, so of course, commissioner friend
I mean,
privilege.
yeah. I mean, it's a Choctaw connection. No, Nurgle, I went from like
The Choctaw Connection sounds like a horrible but amazing 70s movie.
I mean,
Like,
it could
Pump
be.
would be all over that.
Choctaw is not named after the Indian tribe. It is named after the train company or whatever that ran through there. So it could be like mafia run trains and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, um, Nurgle gets expensive once you finally stay a little bit healthy
Yeah.
or get skills. I went 7 games with only 4 total skills on my guys. It was 2 bloaters with block, 1 pesticle with block dodge. I went 7 games with 4 or less skills.
Yeah, but they're a good team. You don't really need a lot of skills. So that might be optimal.
um, so I probably talked about this before, and I know this is a long opening segment, but I don't know where else to place this.
People enjoy it.
What's that?
People enjoy it. Well, they can skip ahead.
Yeah,
We put the times on the website, so.
yeah, that's true. Um, I was looking back. 2 games I won were both both games I won against both Black Orc teams. I caught my own kickoff basically.
Jeez.
Like I kicked to him the second half, and the ball, goes only like 3 squares, and I roll the blitz action, catch my own ball, or don't catch it, but I surround it, and then I
Yeah.
go on to win 2-1. Both games were like that. Uh, one game against dwarves, I don't know if we've talked since then. Foul appearance worked, I think 9 to 11 times.
Really?
I thought it was 9 times. The guy yesterday was telling the story to somebody else at the store, going, "Yeah, and I played Scott, and it was 11 times." So he might have a more accurate recollection of the game, since we always remember the bad. So he said it was 11 times, with like 4 of them coming on blitzes, and that's just a big deal. When
Yeah, that's huge.
sorry, I got disturbing or foul appearance. Yeah, it's huge, especially against dwarves.
Yeah.
The last game I played, which was against the Underworld team, I gave like 340 in inducements, and he had a roster of like I think 13 guys. He got Hackflim and 2 babes, or babes, not babes. What are the kegs now? Kegs. Sorry, I had to actually teach somebody that they used to be called babes because they were Bloodweiser babes and not kegs, and everything got changed. And it's like, oh, I really didn't know that. I was wondering why you guys, the older guys, said babes. This game, he takes Hackflim. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
He gets the kickoff, which I'm like, man. I kick the ball. He sneaks 2 snotlings on the pitch. The kickoff event is officius ref.
Oh no.
We randomize the ref. He gets in an argument with Hackflim. We roll a 1. Hackflim is ejected.
God.
Hold on.
I
So
hate
at that
that.
point, the guy I was playing took it way, way, way better than I ever would in my life.
Yeah.
Um, we were even joking that the ref counted heads, and he was like, "There's 13 players out here," so he kicked off Hackflim because he had 2 heads,
That
and
works, yeah.
and that's how Hackflim got in an argument. Like, no, I'm one person, dude. That's not me. You can't do this to me. I didn't jump. I was here from the beginning. He's like, "You're out of here, buddy." We resolved the kickoff event. The first block he does is to one of my bloaters, and he casualties him. Miss next game. I can't regen because I'm like 1 for 9 out of regen in all season. He moves all the way up. Like, he goes, I'm just going to go for it. And so he moves all the way up, and I could get to one of his guys, I believe, with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It was either a ball or a snarling just to get in place. I blitzed with my good Pestigore. I was 1 square away, just one little rush, or go for it for us old guys. And I roll a 1. I went ahead and re-rolled it because I didn't want him's armor to break like I knew it would. And I fall, and my armor breaks, and thank God it's just a stun.
Mm-hmm.
He moves up again. He makes a bunch of blocks, stuns a bunch of guys. I still have 1 tiny chance to get to him as long as I clear off 1 block. I roll with my bloater. This is turn 2. Double skulls. And I'm like, I got to play the long game. I can't waste another reroll here and maybe be out of him, and he still might score because he has a blodger with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
A gutter runner on the team. He scores turn 3. We kick off. The next thing is get the ref, which I thought was super thematic. That like Underworld was mad about it. They score. They run the ref out of the stadium. And I even got a kick out of that. So I just thought that was funny, fluff-wise and stuff. But yes, I did manage to grind out a touchdown near the end. And then I somehow got mixed up on turns. And I pleaded with him, like, no, you still got a turn. We set up for a kickoff. And he goes, no, it's halftime. And I was like, no, you have 1 turn left. And he goes, oh, okay. And he didn't put anybody in the back. And I was thinking, God, this is a weird move. I tried to throw a goblin. So I'm pretty sure he knew I was wrong on the turn marker, and he didn't take advantage of me.
Okay.
Because I kicked off to him, so he went first.
Yeah.
Because that was like a weird exchange. But I didn't realize that until I was driving home. Like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. I gave him an extra turn.
Well,
and he could have thrown a... But anyways.
Nuffle didn't punish you.
Yeah, and then the second half, he swarmed the crap out of me, like, super quick. And, I mean, there was 6 guys. I couldn't pick up the ball to save my life.
Yeah.
And then, anyways, pulled it out near the end. He had 1 turn left, and nothing happened. But I am so expensive now, Steve. It's ridiculous. From here on out, I'm giving everybody like $200K in inducements.
It just boggles my mind you're able to rattle off a game like that.
What's that?
I just can't do that. Like,
well,
I went to the tournament and I had to, I took notes because I used my note sheet that I've been trying to perfect. And then I came home and wrote a narrative so I actually could speak better than, the next turn I kicked the ball.
Oh, I got only 1 foul appearance the whole game. It only worked once the whole game. So I had a game that went like 9 or 11. And then this game, it fell back to 1, which is so weird.
That makes sense, I guess.
And my rot spawn has 14 points. So it's either like, do I give him stand firm and guard? Or do I just cash these all in and take a block? So tempting.
I don't know. Yeah, on the Houston League for the Blood Bowl 3, I'm still in first with 7 wins, 2 draws. I'm undefeated as well after 9 weeks. The problem is the top 5 the top 3 are 23, 22, and 20 points. And then fourth is 20 points. So it's anyone's game almost. And then this week I go up against TJ's human team, which are 5, 1, and 3. So I got to try to take him down.
Well, I would say like we were playing some in that little like practice PC league, but for Cobble, and it's not moving at all, and I'm about ready to just not worry about it.
I got on Jeff, and he said he was going to mention it, but he didn't. So, oh
Nah,
well,
Jeff's too nice.
he is.
And I know Jeff listens, so he's going to hear this, and then he's going to feel bad, and he's going to like apologize to me. And Jeff, I don't want you to apologize to me. It's not your fault. You're playing your games.
Yeah.
Um, I think that sometimes is a little bit of.
The hardest thing about being a commissioner is telling people, get your damn games done.
Well, it's riding people's butt, and when you don't know some people, like some people from that league, Jeff's never met.
Yeah,
He hasn't met some of these people, and Jeff's not a mean person, and he's not even a Scott person, meaning like I can be a dick if I want to.
right.
I got told that I was being too much Scott, so I'm like, either is that an adverb or a verb? Being too much Scott.
Yeah, that's probably how they mean it.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, I've become like something in English. I'm not so good in English.
Congrats, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
You pulled a Scott.
I was coming off to Scott.
Okay, that's fair.
And I was like, I don't even know what that means.
Two in someone's face.
Okay.
You're mean.
Anyways, I'm mean. I'm a jerk. That's my children. Oh, did I tell you my child got a job?
Oh, no. Really?
Yes.
I assume the oldest one.
Yes.
Where at?
No, it's just so you parents out there who are listening, and you have like a 14-year-old teenager and their buttholes. One day they're gonna work, and one day I haven't lived long enough to. After her first shift, she came in the car and she's like, "Oh, Dad, I don't know how you like stand up all the time at your job. Now I know why you're tired." And I was like, "Honey, you only worked like 3 hours." but we I think you're starting to develop a little bit of appreciation of some things. So
yeah, she's not 14 though, right?
No.
Okay, well,
we're driving. We got our license too this week, which
okay,
if I'm gonna be super honest, kind of shocked me. So
that she passed.
She can drive really well, actually. She has that like kind of anxiety moment if you have to make a decision. You gotta, sometimes you have to respond in life.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that time we were driving up the highway and that truck almost flipped, and
oh yeah,
after we got through it, you go, "Thank you. Your reaction was really good."
It's important to have good reactions when you're driving.
I think she gets overly nervous and then locks up, and you can't do that sometimes driving. So my concern is that, like every teenager, she's probably going to get in a little wreck and then be smooth from there on out. So yeah. I was surprised that she said the guy kind of tricked her. He's like, "Let's go practice for a while and then we'll take your test." And she goes, "Okay." And then afterwards, he's like, "All right, drive us back." And she's like, "What about the test?" And he's like, "Oh, you already went through the test."
That's a good way to do it. Because when I did mine,
nervous.
I freaked out. And
yeah, that's what she would have done.
He wanted me to do parallel parking, and I almost turned into the car. And I'm like, "This is freaking parallel parking. We don't do it in Oklahoma." And I parked at one point. And he goes, "Okay, and now what do you do?" I go, "Turn off the car, but then what? Take the seatbelt off, and then what? Get out of the car. What do you want me to do, dude?" He's like, "The handbrake." Like, I've never used that in my life. To this day, I've never used the handbrake in my life.
I've used mine maybe 3 times in my life.
I mean, if I'm parked uphill, then yes, I understand I need to use it. I've never parked that way, so,
I get it.
Well, that's driving tips from Stephen Scott.
Golly, we're getting like all our like random.
We haven't chatted in a while.
Out, like right here in the beginning.
It's the longest beginning in a long time.
In my last game too, I killed a guy and raised a Nurgle Rotter.
Yeah.
And so here's what I learned, folks. This is intro play. I should have. It's pretty obvious now that thinking back. I got the lineman rodder, and I thought I got it for free. And you do for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to buy him just like he was a journeyman at the end of the game.
You do?
So I hit, yeah. So I hit the button because I wanted just to have his name Skitter on my lineman, my roster for a brief period of time.
Yeah.
And I wasted $35K doing so. Now, I'm the commissioner. I wouldn't have ever bought that if I knew that. And somebody else could have told me the same thing, and I would fix their roster. I'm probably not going to do that, but
yeah, I hate how many new rules I'm learning. Because even at the tournament, like,
that's because
someone threw a bomb, and then they wanted to go, throw a teammate. And I'm like, you can't throw a teammate. You already used pass. Like, oh, I did? Like, oh, you threw a bomb. It's pass action. Oh, okay. And then later on, we come to find out, doesn't count as a pass action.
Yeah, I was starting to say I think you're wrong on that.
But. Yeah, well, I don't know. He should know his rules better.
I mean, no, you're right. We've read the rules.
Yeah.
At least I have. I know I've read the book. My brain just has the old. I guess this is getting old.
No, it's just the new rules are not different enough. They made slight changes to a lot of things, and it's hard to keep track of a lot of it.
Right. I mean,
and then stuff that we don't use. When's the last time I threw somebody the same time I tried to throw a bomb?
Right.
Never.
I bet you 8 out of 11 of my games, not 8 out of 11. That's the wrong ratio. Well, I've played 9 games. I bet you 6 out of the 9 games I played this season with Nurgle.
Yeah.
People did know that you roll the foul appearance before you ever move, like a blitz.
I hate that too.
I mean, I feel like it's unfair because when it works, it's so amazing, and crushing. So, anyway.
Well, on today's docket, we've got, like I said, I went to a tournament, so we'll talk about that first segment. Second segment, we're going to talk about, this is going to seem very similar to last episode. We've talked about tournament and figures. This one's going to be tournament and figures. So we got new figures from GW, and then a couple other figures that have been shown. We're going to talk about those. And then, once again, another mystery segment for the third segment, which I will spring upon Scott when we get there.
Yeah, that's kind of freaking me out.
You should be used to it by now.
Man,
it's the typical, we didn't plan for anything, so Steve just throws something out there and see what happens.
Well, we could have planned something. So
we could.
Anyways, let's get into it.
In the future, will we plan better? So we say.
Yeah, we need to go back to our fluffy segments because I'm tired of seeing super terrible names from people. I want to go old white guy on all these team names and things, and people go like, "I'm playing with the Chestnut Miller kebabs." or something stupid, and it just drives. Yeah. Well, that's actually not bad compared to some of them, but
you can't even make a bad one. Your mind doesn't let you.
Tonight, I'm playing Coliseum Assault versus the New Generation. And I'm like, what the F is this?
Again, those aren't horrible names.
I mean, it's terrible.
Can you even come up with a horrible name?
Can't.
Does your mind even let you come up with one?
Look, dude, I want to write every bad team name down I see, and then have a segment where I just blurt it out and I shame people. But all it's going to do is make people think I'm a bigger jerk than I am.
Wow.
And then they're going to hate me even worse.
20-minute segment of Scott shaming team names. You've been Scott shamed.
If you told me we could do that, we should have just done it with somebody else's voice. Have Alan do it. I write down my response and Alan rereads it out loud.
We can just call it Not Both Down Approved and just read name after name after name and sell a t-shirt that says Not Both Down Approved.
God.
I was not.
Well, then you're going to get people like Keller who just do nothing but try to
make bad names. Yeah.
Up. Keller, you don't have to do it. Everybody else does. So.
Okay, well, now we're going to go into the next segment.
Now I'm done.
Okay, first segment, we're going to be talking about my trip recently to the Brawl for the Berg. This was,
Raw. So this is Pittsburgh.
yeah, it was located just out of Pittsburgh in Coraopolis, Pennsylvania.
See, now that sounds like an old world name.
I know, kind of,
Coraopolis. It's made out of coral and
yeah,
something like that.
uh, Cora Opolis, but yeah.
Okay.
AJ Murray ran it. He's come to our tournaments before, friend of the podcast, cool guy. He did the art, he does the art for Chaos Cup all the time.
He does a lot of Super Show logos too.
Does he?
Some of the artwork for Super Show.
Oh, that's
Or
cool.
at least he used to. I don't know if he still does, but
Is Super Show still going on? Like, not in a
oh
very
yeah,
mean way, but I haven't seen much
no,
about it.
they're still going on. And I mean, from the community standpoint, it looks like it's going strong. I don't, I don't want to like bag it because I don't know because I
Yeah,
haven't bought hardly any product or anything lately because we're just not playing it locally. So
makes sense.
it looks like the tournaments and conventions and stuff like that are still going strong. So,
That's good.
anyways, AJ's done several logos in the past for them for sure.
This was on May 6th, and it's nice because it started kind of later in the day. It's only a couple hours away from here.
Four rounds, three rounds,
3 rounds. So since it was only
three
three
rounds.
rounds,
Okay,
I was able to go and come back the same day. And
nice.
um, I was kind of hesitant because my car was giving me issues, but I went anyways and left, and my car was just like, "You want to go to 70 miles an hour? Nah, we're not doing that." And then you want to go up a hill? Sure, we can go up the hill, but we're going to lose power the whole time you do. So that was an adventure getting there. Finally got there, and really cool old town, like it was in the downtown area. So I parked, and it was at Fabricator's Forge, which is, I guess, just a really cool shop, but more so because apparently they own this whole building. It's a old police station, and the second floor is all the gaming area. And I was told the first floor they have like set up some painted models for show, and then they have studios for live streaming and other stuff. But it's really neat. Um, the second,
Okay,
like I said, the whole floor had multiple rooms. Had like a room for where we were at that had the big, Warhammer tables and all that type of stock. Then it had a smaller room with like a lot of board games and a board game table, one of the fancy ones. It had a ton of lockers. It had almost a full kitchen. It was just
so
missing like,
people lockers to like. I come up there every Wednesday so I could rent a locker for
mm-hmm,
the month and keep my Blood Bowl team in there.
yep.
Wow,
And
I
like I
like
said,
that.
it had almost a full kitchen with all kinds of product you can buy and check out yourself. Then had a giant magic or card room, which was massive, and even had a door open to the outside. Because it's weird, 2-story, but the way the hills are, the second story opens out into a parking lot.
Hmm.
So that's kind of neat. And one of the awesome things is if you're a member of the club, it's open 24/7. So you just go, since they own the whole building, you can just go, put in your code at the door, and hang out, which would be amazing.
Wow.
So they really trust their people.
Yeah, no joke.
But,
Well, you maybe give codes to only those you really trust anyway. So
well, like I said, you have to be part of the club, and I'm sure they have cameras, and it keeps track of who logs in with the codes and stuff. So
I got you. Well, that's true.
I'm
I
sure there's
got you.
not that big of an issue.
Credit card on standby if you break stuff
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everything else.
Um, when I got there, it was 20 to 30 minutes after registration opened, but the door was locked. So, like, that sucks. I got to talking to a guy also there for it, and his name was Tony. And since we were waiting, we kind of talked for a while. And he was taking vampires, and he'd been playing them in the league, and he's really enjoying them. Got to talk about, he's like, "Oh, you're from Oklahoma?" I'm like, "Yeah." Well, that's really cool. We had some people from, I think Michigan. He said, and I was like, "Oh, I think they might know who that is." And yeah, Sean Cowley went there with his brother last year.
Sean Kelly goes to everything.
He kind of does, yeah. That is his
So
job.
he's like green shirt guy from WWE. Like if you watch any live WWE event in
Yeah.
A&E, he's right there in the front row. Who knows how he has the money to do all this stuff, and it's none of my business. The good thing is Sean Callie is like super effing nice,
Yeah.
generous, and like it's like, are you like an angel watching out for us, and you're just checking out to see if we're well behaved and stuff? Because you're everywhere.
He is, and he's just a great guy to
And
hang out with too.
so I don't know if his like job allows him to do, like he travels for his job like Brian too, because Brian two's almost everywhere.
Yeah.
So
He's a lot less places now since he did change jobs.
oh, is that why?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah, he
did
changed
not know
jobs
that.
like a year or two back, I think. Maybe longer.
Yeah, I feel like I've been out of the super travel
Well,
circuit myself. So
for
like,
sure. Well, COVID did not help. Um,
right.
but
Anyways, I'm not really teasing Sean. I'm
no,
teasing him in a jealous way. Like I wish I could be like you,
of course.
or at least have your money.
Um,
Maybe not the stress that comes with your
yeah,
money.
yeah. No, stress is no fun.
Actually, I'm fine. I'll stick with my life.
So
Let
once
Sean be good. I don't want to be the nice guy everywhere.
eventually they let us in, they didn't realize the door was
Yeah.
locked. So got in, talked to a guy named Ryan who had a really cool shirt, hockey jersey of his team, and he's the one who sent me a message about the tournament. I already knew about it, but he sent me a message to the podcast about, hey, you're in the area, why don't you come check this out? So it
Cool.
was cool, and met a couple other guys who also listened who said we were going to message you about it, but didn't know if you wanted to come this far or not. I'm like, 2 hours is not that much, so
Yeah. We're from Oklahoma. Two
yeah.
hours is like not far at all.
Oh, and thankfully the car is now fixed. It cost me $600, but it's fixed, and it's actually better than it has been since I got it.
Well,
This
good.
this freaking car has been a nightmare the whole time, but
I'd
whatever.
like you to go about 5 months without like an event.
I would love that. That sounds amazing. Let's see if it happens.
Yeah, I mean you're at what? Well, the car counts, so we're gonna say your reset to zero.
Yeah.
So
So the car, and then like the
yeah,
two
sure.
20 minutes after leaving, more hitting, the car breaking down.
Well, that was your reset, and then anyways, keep going.
Yeah. So ultimately, we ended up having 14 people. Good size for the
Okay, that's
tournament.
good.
Yeah, not a
Yeah.
problem. Like I said, this is the Brawl for the Berg. We have to have. It was kind of basically the World Cup build,
Okay.
um, but
Exactly.
no.
Or
Actually, I lied. I took my World Cup build. I was able to
you.
do it
Okay.
because of the rules, but anyways. Um,
You're saying you took the roster for your World Cup like a practice.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So you have to have 11 before hiring a star player. Um, Tier 1, no star players. Amazon, Chaos Dwarf, Dark Elf, Dwarf, Human, Lizard, Necro, Norse, Orc, Undead, Skaven, Underworld, Wood Elf. Tier 2, 0 to 1 star player. Black Orc, Chaos Chosen, Chaos Renegade, Elven Union, High Elf, Imperial Nobility, Khorne, Nurgle, Odor Alliance, Slann, Snotling, Tomb Kings. And Tier 3, 0 to 2 star players, Goblin, Halfling, Ogre, Vampire. So after creating your team, you get a budget based on the tiers. Tier 1's 140k, Tier 2 160, Tier 3 200. So a little bit less than World Cup, but basically I just had my World Cup roster without one reroll.
Okay.
And then the thing that I didn't think about, which other people did, because I mean it's not something you normally see and had no business being on World Cup roster, additional skills as and or stat upgrades. So the skills, yeah, of course, but the stat upgrades I completely didn't account for. The budget according to the following costs: primaries 20, secondaries 40, AV plus 1 10k, move 20, passing 30, agility 40, strength 80. And one
Mm,
player may have two primary skills added. A player may not have a skill and a stat bonus. Only one stat bonus per player. So,
mm.
like I said, that'll come into play later, but I did not even think about it. And then they had a special rule: Welcome to Blitzburg. When an opposition player is knocked down by a block that is part of a blitz action, you may apply an additional +1 modifier to the AV roll for each POW that was not chosen as the block result. So theoretically, that's really good for me as a Norse team, because if I'm blitzing, I take the both down. I got a both down and a POW. Then I can take the both down and have an extra 1 on the armor.
Okay.
So it's a neat little thing. Didn't come into play too often. I think it came into play maybe twice, if I remember correctly. So that all makes sense?
Kind of. I mean, there's a lot there.
It was a lot there, but like that's the boring stuff. I didn't want to go too far into it.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, round 1, I went up against Ryan Tambellini, his Brookline Brawlers, the Black Orcs. He's the guy that messaged me about the podcast. He had 4 Black Orcs, 1 with Wrestle, 1 with AV +1. Oh, he had another Black Orc, sorry. So he had 2 with +1 AV. Then he had 3 Black Orcs, 1 with Wrestle. He had Bomber and a Bribe.
So right from the gate, somebody's using the +1 AV.
Mm-hmm. He had a trained Troll with Strong Arm and Brawler. He had 5 Bruisers, and 2 of them had -1 Agility. And I was so confused when I saw that on his roster, -1 Agility. I'm like, you could take negatives to your Agility? New rules. So adding Agility means -1 to the roll. Right?
I gotcha. Right.
Gotcha. It threw me for a loop.
That's okay. When my bloater got like edge busted, I was just like, what? Yeah, so
exactly. Old men. New rules.
5 agility. This is amazing. There's a glitch in the tour play system.
He also had 3 rerolls and 2 coaches and a cheerleader. And it was really neat. He had his draft list all printed off and laminated. He had some stickers and stuff to give away for his team. It's really awesome. Made me jealous I didn't have stuff to, hand out to people. Although I did take some of our big deal figures and hand them out to people. Just as a nice way of, showing off.
Bribing people?
Mm-hmm. And pens. Pens are always good.
Bribing people?
Yep. I do enjoy bribing.
Why does everybody like Steve better than Scott on the podcast? Well, he bribes everybody.
You just said your name was used as a verb to denote being mean. So maybe that has something to do with it.
You know what? Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth from their friends.
I know. But that's why we're here. So for my team, Yeti with Mighty Blow, 2 Orphaners with Block, 2 Berserkers, 1 with Tackle, 1 with Stand Firm. Stand Firm I was questionable on, but I wanted to take it because I was trying to control the sidelines more.
Okay.
And then, like before, I was trying out the Star Player. This time I'm trying out Valkyries. So I had a Valkyrie with Wrestle and a Valkyrie with Leader. And then 6 linemen.
I approve the Wrestle and Leader.
Yep. I had 1 reroll, 1 fan, and then 2 coaches. Okay. The fan's free, so whatever. So this is different than last time because, I have 13 players, so I've got 2 people on the bench. I remember last time I got my ass handed to me on a couple of games, so my armor was just not holding up.
I mean, me and you privately have been talking about this. I would always have more bench players. So
yeah. You mentioned it, Drew mentioned it, other people mentioned it, and I'm like, I get it. So, for the game, I put the ball in the sweet spot, roll, and it goes 6 straight to the middle of the line of scrimmage. We did the kickoff result, and he got coaches and an extra reroll. Then his Black Orc in the middle, in 3 tackle zones, and a negative from the disturbing presence, rolls a 6 and gets it.
He's amazing.
That's still annoying. So not looking great to start off. He ended up throwing a bomb at 3 of my guys bunched up together because I forgot he had a bomb because I'm stupid. He rolled a 6. I rolled a 6 with the Earthwarner. I actually caught the ball.
Okay.
So, of course, using the star player ability, he went ahead and just blew him up. because that's a thing you can do once a game. It's
I
like,
know
damn it.
because at Chaos Cup playing that Snotling team in the Stunty Cup, Zara the Slayer, or not Zara the Slayer, Carla
Yeah.
caught a bomb, and he goes, "Well, I'm gonna make it blow up." And I'm like,
I
"What?" I was like
know.
Kyle's mom, and I was like, "I have to see that. I'm sorry. I know you know Snotling's better than me, but I got to see this in writing." I was like, "God dang it!"
Yeah.
So
So after basically me thinking he's not going to be able to pick up the ball, and I did an interception, and just, nope, blows up in my face.
yeah.
Luckily,
Hey, you know what? You got it out of the way early though.
that's true, but I never intercepted again, so it didn't matter. His second turn, he hands the ball to the goblin. The troll picks him up and rolls a 6. Again, both of those were within the disturbing presence range of the Yeti, which came into play a lot this tournament, but did not cause a negative, didn't screw up anything here. The So he throws the goblin and walks right in. Just like 2 turns, he scored. He was going to try that the first turn, but this is where I screwed up and thought you couldn't throw a bomb and throw a teammate the first time. So that was my ball. That was my bad. He kicked off to me. I got the ball. I blitzed a Gabo out, got a casualty. Those counted for the tournament, so that was nice. Then my Yeti, who 3 turns in, maybe 4 turns, I've knocked people down. It's his 3rd time rolling a 3 on the armor. Like, I can't do anything. Mighty Blow does not help. Then his next turn, he KO'd both of my Orthwearers with Black Orcs. So they're both gone.
Okay.
Decided to be smart to go ahead and score quick to try to get the KOs back. I was able to, and luckily got both back. So it was 1-1 before the end of the half. I was able to get to his ball carrier, had a chance to score before the half to go up 2-1, but my Valkyrie failed to pick up the ball. So kind of SOL there, but was able to get another casualty. So got a couple of casualties on him now. And we laughed about how bad my armor had been, or my dice rolls had been on the armor, because I'd be getting tons of 3s, like not just like 3 times, but tons with the Yeti, with everyone. And we did the whole thing of, well, Blood Bowl's a game of halves. I'm sure it'll change in the second half. So we started the second half. Kickoff was a coach. We both tied, so no one got the reroll. I got the ball, basically caged up, and then just started walking down the field. Had a lineman take on a black orc, end up casualtying him. So got an 11 and 11. I was like, oh, well, maybe my dice are getting better. Second turn, I got 2 more casualties. Third turn, I got a couple KOs. Fifth turn, I got a KO and a casualty, and etc., and etc., and etc. So on turn 8, I scored. I won 2-1, and against Black Orcs, I had 8 casualties. And I think
Nice.
all of that except one was from the second half. So the win was
Nice.
great, and then also I'm now in the running for most casualties because frickin' 8, that's a lot.
Yeah.
We did
That is a
lunch
bunch.
after that round. It was, like I said, it was a nice downtown area. Ended up going across the street for some pizza, and they had a square Sicilian style, and they were able to get it done in like 15 minutes. We had about 45 minutes for lunch. It was pretty
pizza.
good. It was. I ate it. I really liked it. I ate like half because it was a small one. Brought it back to the tournament because I didn't know how long we had. I wanted to be there whenever we started. And I got to eating it. I'm like, this tastes so familiar, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Then eventually I figured it out. The crust is fine, but the sauce and the pepperoni were like ones I buy at the store. Did I ever make my Ritz pizzas for you when I lived there?
No.
So basically, you take a Ritz cracker, you put a dab of pizza sauce, a pepperoni, and then cheese on top. and then you microwave it for like 30 seconds. And
No,
that's
I've had those, not from you, but I
okay.
have had those in my life. You're not the only
Well, yeah.
kid that thought that was the most amazing thing ever.
It's still the most amazing thing ever, but that's what it tasted like. Those
Hmm.
exact same type of greasy pepperonis.
So you were like into it. You're like,
I
yeah.
was. Yeah, I was not complaining in the slightest.
Pizza Steve was happy.
Pizza Steve. I like Pizza Steve. That's a movie no one talks about anymore. Multiplicity.
Oh, I'm not even talking. I've never seen that movie. There's a Pizza Steve in that.
There's a. So you remember Multiplicity at all? Where Michael Keaton starts cloning himself? Okay.
Yeah. I remember that part.
The clones start cloning themselves. So eventually they get really bad versions. And one of the dumb ones is like, I like pizza, Steve. I like
Oh, I
pizza.
like Pizza Steve. I
Yeah.
got you. I was like, it's on that Uncle Cracker show, but then it's not Uncle Cracker, it's Uncle
Uncle
Grandpa.
Grandpa. Uncle Cracker is a singer, questionably.
Yeah, I got my uncles. Yeah, Pizza Steve is. It has to be a reference in from Multiplicity, then, right?
It probably is.
Like somebody creating that. Anyways,
But
your
yeah,
Pizza Steve.
that was actually on the other day, and I thought to myself, I forgot about this movie until I saw it again.
Well, I forgot about Uncle Grandpa until we just mentioned it.
So. Very true.
God, that was such a terrible cartoon.
It was weird.
It's a slice of pizza. It's a flying tiger.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this special needs person. I don't know.
Okay, well, we can just stop there. That's fine.
The character had like a weird head. That's what's freaking. I'm looking at right now. It's freaking me out.
Uncle Grandpa? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good morning.
Hey, everyone. I'm Grandpa.
Me and my kids watched it. I still think it was really weird and kind of a dumb concept, but my kids have good memories, so we were laughing.
So, anyways, round 2, I ended up going up against Tony Nolan's Vampires, the Saturday Night Blood Fevers. If you would like to discuss that name.
No comment.
Exactly.
I mean, I get the pun, but
yeah,
no comment.
Like, he told me he was good with vampires, and he won the league, and I'm like, oh, cool. So he took 4 vampires and 9 thralls.
Okay.
With 4 rerolls, a coach and a cheerleader, and 3 of his vampires, all 4 of his vampires had pro. One of them also had block. And then one of his thralls had kick. You know what all the other thralls had? +1 armor.
Yeah. That's pretty brilliant.
I looked at it. I legitimately looked at it and I go, there's no freaking way this is allowable in this tournament. And I was trying to do the math. I'm like, there's just no way. This is way too much. Vampires are tier 3 for this tournament.
Yeah. Everybody has vampires in the wrong spot. You get the right vampire coach, a Vanderby, this guy, whatever, they are going to wreck all you people who put them in tier 3.
Yeah. Speaking of, so I kicked the ball to him. He ended up getting another reroll because, he needed that. On the 3rd turn, I was able to get the ball from him, tried for a long pass just to get the ball away from the end zone, essentially a punt. So I got it further. He was sort of down the sidelines towards my end zone. I threw it more towards the middle of the pitch, and I hate freaking wildly inaccurate passes.
No, it's terrible.
It just kills it. Luckily, I didn't get that. I had to use a reroll, but I actually got the punt off. He then proceeded to get the ball, throw a long pass within range of the Yeti, and got a 6. The pass also went to someone in the disturbing presence area of the Yeti and got it. And then he did a handoff, and he just went to the end zone and luckily failed his second rush and fell into the end zone. He didn't get hurt, but I was able to get the ball in the end zone. I dodged another guy away, fouled his vampire in the end zone, KO'd him. So,
Nice, nice. So you're still in it.
still in it. I had him mostly screened up to where he'd have to dodge away to try to do anything. Yes, I know he has pro, he has rerolls, but whatever. And this would have to be his thralls that did anything. And again, keep in mind, his thralls are not getting hurt because of the armor, and he's not hurting them because of the armor. Even if
when you said they were only 10K,
yeah,
which is, I'm assuming what's in the rule book because I can't tell you the last time I took an
right.
armor thing in this edition. I was thinking, like, good lord, like I could take some halflings, and just that +1 on a halfling would really be helpful long term. So I can only imagine it's even better with thralls.
Yeah, he basically just hypnogazed everybody, and
which is what you do with vampires.
Yeah, so he got the ball but wasn't able to score. I then used my Valkyrie with strip ball, which I do love that they come with that. Got the ball out of his hands, had the vampire next to my Valkyrie and another person. Ball goes bouncing, bounced right back into his damn vampire's hands, and he got it in 2 tackle zones. So then all he had to do was dodge for a touchdown, and he got it. And at this point, like, I'm beyond frustrated because I can't set up screens. I can't stop him. He can't fail anything because he's got pro on every damn vampire. So if they dodge, great. Now he's going to hypnogaze. Did he fail? Oh, pro, pass. Now hypnogaze, got it. Fail a dodge? Oh, pro. Nope, got the dodge. Failed a animal savagery? Nope, use pro, got it, no problem. Oh, animal savagery? Rolled a 7, doesn't hurt the armor, blah, blah, blah. Or rolled an 8, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, God dang it.
Well, I mean, he took advantage of the rules.
Absolutely,
he
did.
That's not his problem.
No.
That's the rules themselves. And like I said, people misjudge what vampires can do on these tier 3 things, and especially like this tournament, and it all worked for him. So like, that's a lot of rerolls per turn you can potentially have.
And it sucks. Like, and this is totally on me. I was just really frustrated. I wasn't paying attention to the turns. I thought I had an extra turn, so I didn't get someone downfield, so I had no chance to score. Probably didn't have a great chance anyways, but if I at least had someone down there, I could try, but I didn't. Right. So we go into the second half, and he's up 1-0. I receive the ball, and this is when my Yeti really starts shitting the bed, because 3 turns in a row, he rolled on 1 on just blocks. And then he's able to get to my ball carrier, because again, he just hypnogazes everybody, and then, hits me. The ball,
that's what vampires do.
Of course, goes bouncing, and again, bounces into the vampire, and the vampire just picks it up. I ended up getting the ball away from him, but still couldn't pick it up. Got a 1 reroll 1. So he ends up getting the ball, passes again in an area of disturbing presence influence, makes it, no problem, goes to the other side of the pitch, hands off, and then goes down the field, basically running away from my ability to do anything. Because I was on the left side, he just goes down my right side.
Steve, they're vampires. They're not going to be disturbed by your like flies.
I know,
your dingleberry on your your Yeti,
and
they're not scared of that.
Like, the only chance I had was basically dodging out with an Earthburner into a tackle zone to try to get to him. I was able to get the dodge out, was not able to get the dodge in, so failed. He walks in, goes up 2-0. Not only does he win 2-0, I got 1 freaking casualty against him. 1.
Wow.
I couldn't get anything.
Wow.
I couldn't do anything. Like, the Yeti was just crapping the bed. And then again, the Yeti has Mighty Blow, and I'm just not breaking armors. He's got Claw and Mighty Blow. these armors
Right.
shouldn't matter. No, didn't do anything. So,
Sometimes the risk with taking Mighty Blow, because like when I have tried to like really, really milk Mighty Blow, it has never worked.
yep. I and it worked like last tournament worked great. Had no issue. He was a star. He was a stud. He was doing fine. This one, nope.
All right, so you're 1-1.
1-1. Going to the last round again, 3 rounds. Going up against Tim McClelland with his Amazon team called Snake's Nest, and
No,
I think
no comment. No comment.
it's Snakes N apostrophe AT Snakes Nat. I don't know.
No comment.
I understood. Two throwers, both with block. Two blitzers, both with catch. Two the blockers, the 4 strength one, both with block. Linewoman with tackle, and 6 other linewomen just as they are. Two rerolls, cheerleader, coach, apothecary, fan. So
The the I'm gonna. We had a conversation last week about this, me and Gary, about the dumbest like function. Like, let's give the Amazons like just a little bit of strength to compete. We'll call them a blocker, and then we'll give them normal agility and access to general, so they can get block and sure hands really quick and become lady griffs,
yeah,
mini cheap lady griffs, or cheap Carlas, or whatever you want to say. It's ridiculous
yeah,
that
it
that
really
piece does
is.
not have edge to make it a little bit tougher or something. It's just not what they intended, and they really GW shit the bed on this one. Sorry.
I'm sure they know, and I even mentioned that to him. Like,
They probably don't care,
right,
but I mean, like, and it's
they're not going to
fine.
admit
But
they made a mistake. It's always going to be this way.
why are you running the ball? I mean, like, somebody brand new looking at that thing would be like, "Well, they're not runners. They're supposed to be blockers. It just doesn't make sense." Yeah.
Because they
Well,
have
welcome to
four
Blood Bowl.
strength, block, and dodge. That's why they run the ball.
You guys clearly didn't listen to your play testers, if you play tested. That's for sure. So
So on this one, I won the kickoff for the first time, so that was nice. Got a timeout, so turn went forward. The ball went over the line, so I was able to just give it straight to Valkyrie, and then just started walking down the pitch. My whole plan for this was basically just to get some casualties, so even if I didn't get a win, I could try to get the award. But they're Amazons. They have dodge. Knocking them down is not great. I'm able to knock down some with both down, but again, they have a lot of both down. We're at block as well. Um, just dropped my phone.
I think we should rename that skill just both down
We should,
and
yes.
put in Blood Bowl, and then like they'd be like, because this podcast is so cool, and they told us we shit the bed with these Amazon blockers. That thank you for being honest, but you were way too Scott. We were gonna work on it.
So my plan, and this has been my plan, is like I'm going down one of the sidelines, trying to control the sideline, push people out when they come get me. So I'm able to push out a few of his Amazon players, but I'm not getting any casualties. And again, they count for this tournament. That's all I want. And as I said, I have my tracker, so I keep track of like what happens every single turn. From turns 3 to 7, all I have in both sides is just giant letters pushing. Because it's all we did. We just pushed people here, pushed people there, pushed them left, pushed them right. We weren't knocking anybody down. Luckily, he wasn't knocking me down either, so it wasn't too bad. I end up scoring on my 7th turn to try to get a better chance of hitting his players because I guess I get another shot. Kicked off, I got a blitz, and he had his people set up very poorly. Like, no offense to him, but he had it set up to where with my Orforeigner blitzing and moving a couple of people, I can push 2 of his people out of bounds.
Oh wow!
Because he had them right on the sideline, right next to each other. So all I had to do was block where I could move them, and then bam, bam with frenzy, and they're both gone. And that's one side. The other side, I can take one of my Valkyries down the pitch, and if I rush for it twice, I can get right under the ball. So I'm trying to
Well, he
decide.
can't play with the ball on that side, but
Huh?
So that's not poor planning. Oh, I thought you were claiming like that's a
No,
little
no,
poor
no,
planning on
no. I'm
his.
just saying like that. The poor planning was having the people by the sideline. But I'm saying I had that and I had the ball, so I was trying to decide which one was more important.
I got
Figured the sideline was safer. Double skulls.
you.
And now
Sounds about right.
blitzes, you can't use a reroll.
Yeah, I know.
And
That's why they're like,
I was
yeah.
beyond freaking upset. Like, damn it, why? And guess who it was that was throwing the block?
It's not. It was Yogi because Bobo's good.
No, vice versa. It was
Oh, is
Bobo.
it the other way?
Yeah,
Bobo's the terrible one.
Bobo's the terrible one, and it was Bobo.
Okay. I knew one of them was terrible, but I thought it
Yes.
was the second generation. No, so
Yeah.
it's okay.
Well,
Yogi's the good.
Yogi's
He's the
the
reliable.
human guy. Bobo's the bear guy.
Oh, yeah, okay. Never mind. I had those mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I knew it was the bear miniature. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
God.
it's always been that way. Like if miniatures have like spirit animals,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty much always been that way. And then you had that one terrible player on your chaos team. No matter what he did, he was unreliable.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want to believe that. Like that's just stupid, right? But
It's
again,
role playing, buddy.
I
That
shouldn't have
works.
trusted him. Now, so I wasn't able to get into the ball, which ended up being fine, and I was able to push both of them out next turn. So again, that was fine. I ended up getting one casualty from that, so that was nice. But the crowd was just too nice. I think that might have been the only casualty I got from the crowd. Second half, kick to him, and his second turn, he ends up throwing a 13 square pass perfectly. And he
Jesus,
went
dude.
over all my team. I was not able to, you know, why would I expect him to do this? Well, he's a thrower. That's why he did it. So 13 squares, passed it, got a 6, caught it, walked right into the end zone. So 2 turns, and we're tied 1-1, which ultimately, not really a bad position for me to be in.
Okay.
Kicks off to me, got a high kick, grabbed it with my berserker since he has block. I figured that was safe. Give him a chance, and if he doesn't get it, then whatever. Uh, Walking down the sideline, doing fine. I'm KOing his players decently. He pulled off a dodge out of tackle zone and then into 3 tackle zones to blitz my ball carrier 2 dice uphill, used a reroll, and was able to knock me down. Now, this was my berserker that had stand firm. I was 2 squares away, so I used my stand firm. The only time the whole tournament I used the stand firm just to make sure
Okay.
the ball would not go out of bounds. Uh, then I was able to pick up the ball, made a giant cloud around him. I kept fouling his people. He was sending me people, putting pressure on, and I would knock him down. I'd gang up. I'd foul him. I would, do everything I could. There was probably 4 or 5 turns. I was fouling his people with like +3s, +4s, +5s. I scored on turn 8. I won 2-1, and I only got one casualty that whole game.
Of course. I know this means you did not get the what
Yeah,
coveted award that you were
of
after
course
at
not.
this point.
I don't win awards. I don't know why I go to tournaments. And like I had that thought when I was leaving. I'm like, why do I go to tournaments? I don't win anything. I have fun. That's why I do it. So end of day,
Yeah,
I
sounds like it.
I had 2 wins and a loss, total of 10 casualties. I was 2 casualties away from winning it. The most had 12 with Tomb Kings.
Did the vampires win overall?
Vampires did win overall, easily.
Okay. I mean, it sounded like he knew what he was doing and he had a really good build for that tournament. So
Nobody scored on
congrats.
him. Like,
I
um,
wish no knock on the player. I just wish GW would release
yes,
the final couple of teams. I'm tired of the teams of legends, and I really do want to play some vampires, and I want to see what's going to happen with Chaos Dwarves because I believe both will change.
yeah, for sure they will.
And I believe both will come back eventually. It's just like I'm tired of teams of legends, and I just think with a small handful left, just boot them out for until they come out.
Yeah, but they're holding them off because they want to do a full release and blah blah blah. And I get it, but
You think that's what's happening?
of course.
Is that what the rumor mill says?
Well, no, like that's what they do with all of them.
Oh,
They want to put
oh,
out
I get what you're saying.
a
I
set
thought you
of
meant like a
models, set
box
of
set.
dice, set
I
of
thought
spike.
no. I
Yeah.
thought you meant a full release, like is in a reset of the game,
Oh no,
two
no, no.
teams in one box. That's what I
No, I
thought.
haven't
I'm
heard
sorry.
anything about that.
Okay.
I ended up coming fourth, so again, nothing.
Fourth? That's
Hmm.
still pretty good out of 18 teams. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's usually like that spot of like you're not good enough for any award though. You
Yep.
just get to say I
That's
was in the top 5.
pretty much my spot. My
We'll
yet,
call that the Campbell.
yeah, pretty much. Campbell Award. You got nothing. So here you go. As I kept track of all my stats, my Yeti that whole tournament caused one knockout. Excuse me, no casualties. Caused one knockout. And I even
Nice.
made sure when I was doing hits, like on the line, he was getting 3 dice. And he was knocking people down, but couldn't do anything about it.
That's crazy, dude. I mean, like
I rolled a 3 on armor probably at least 10 times with him. I used claws 1 time, and Mighty Blow came into play 1 time.
dang, man.
And
I'm
I
sorry.
rolled a hit. I rolled a 1 on either blocks or blitzes at probably 4 times in the vampire game alone. So
Wow.
overall, Tony Nolan with the vampires did come in first.
Congrats,
Jason
Tony.
DiGloramo, sorry, I should be able to pronounce names, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
DiGloramo. His Orensaw Razorbacks, Orcs, were the runner-up. Roy Jacobs, his Royal Guard Dwarf team, got most touchdowns. Yes, most touchdowns. Trickle down. He had 5, but Vamps had
Who
7.
was this? What was the
Roy
team?
Jacobs, the Royal Guard, they're dwarves.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's fine.
And then Denny Franks, Shifty Sands, the Tomb Kings got most casualties with 12. So I just needed more casualties and I would have been happy. It's still a fun time though.
Okay.
Just so frustrating.
Well, I'm sorry, buddy.
The first game went so
mean,
well. Like 8 casualties against Black Orcs. You're like, I should be able to hurt people now. And then I went against 2 teams that were basically 8 plus, except
I mean, really, you
vampires.
should have at least got some more injuries against the vampires.
Well, again, when you have +1 armor, so now they're
No,
all
he made sure it was harder. That's for
yeah.
sure, and it worked out. So
And
that's
I was pushing people out of bounds a lot. Just couldn't do anything.
right.
Like
Oh,
I
well,
said,
2-1's
I
not
found a
terrible.
crap ton, but no, definitely not terrible. Perfectly fine, perfectly happy. You know that
Team function better with better bench.
that
I mean,
never came into play.
okay.
Like it's weird. Like previous tournament, I needed bench people. This tournament, I didn't need bench people.
Yeah, you recovered everybody when you
Hmm.
could and all that.
I
Yeah.
didn't get a whole bunch of casualties against me, so maybe just the dice were really low, so there just wasn't a whole bunch of casualties going on. But yeah, it's nice having extra people. It allows me to foul. I don't hate that. And logically, it just makes sense to have people because I'm going to run into those games where I'm going to lose a lot of people.
Gotcha. All right. So overall, a fun time though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sounds like a different and cool venue.
The venue was awesome.
I'm kind of jealous you get to go to play in other states far away that like I just can't do. Like even if I wanted to do that, that'd cost me, $1,000 to travel.
Oh yeah,
and
you have to fly into
everything,
Pittsburgh and
just for 3 rounds, and yet I'm kind of jealous you're in another part of the area where you can do that stuff. I'm sure it'd be much fun if you had more. I'm sorry, much fun, more fun. If you had somebody locally that
oh, of
you were
course,
driving to events with, and
yeah,
like me or Michael or something like that.
dude. There's no
It is
contest.
what
You
it
and me
is.
going to an event is entirely different than just me going to an event.
Yeah, I
But
gotcha.
again,
Cool.
fun, and once you get the kids out of the house, they have their jobs. You don't have to worry so much. You can start traveling more. We can go. I really wanted to go to a Pirates game because I had a Pirates game that night. But with my car being crap and then having to get a hotel and then
Hmm.
figuring, I'm like, I don't really want to mess with it. I'll just go to a Pirates game later. Because it wasn't like they were playing the Cubs or anything. It was just, Pirates.
Right. Okay. Well, we want to wrap this up then and
Yeah,
hit the next segment and talk about some new minis and all that junk.
sounds good. We'll be right back.
All right. All right. We'll see you, bud. Bye. All right, we're back, and I don't know why I told Steve goodbye, even though we're doing another segment. But
I was going to cut that out, but now I can't. So that makes my life easier. Sweet.
yeah, I was like, why did I say goodnight?
Like that
Like,
felt kind of awkward, but I'm like, okay, because we're
I've
still
only been
recording.
up 2 hours, and I'm ready to go back to bed. Welcome to my life. It is Sunday, so I got to have like extreme anxiety for the job I've done for 5 years.
It's
for no
weird. Like
reason.
my job, like I was telling Scott earlier, like I just finished the first segment of training. Like it's been months. Um, like it's been 2 months of just straight training, and I don't know nearly enough yet. But I'm not worried about it. I get my first claims on Monday, but I've got the autonomy and the support to basically just do what you think is right, and if you have questions, ask. I'm like, okay, sweet. So I'm not worried.
Good.
It's nice
All
to
right,
not
so
be hating a job. I'll say that.
yeah, I don't hate my job. It just lately it's just we
Stress.
shouldn't even get into it. Anyways, let's talk about some wonderful miniatures we can finally talk about because we've had these for a while in our back pocket. And now I know are we late to the game talking
Yeah,
about
we are,
these?
but that's
We're
okay.
past the what do they call it? The time to talk about it dates or whatever.
Release date. Yeah.
Release date,
Embargo
yeah.
date. We'll be
Yeah,
able to
usually
do these better in the future, but life has been weird.
it is what it is. Like there's no rush because
Yeah.
other people already leak them anyway. So, anyways, right here, just to show Steve, is the beautiful Withergrass double drool with all his tentacles of joy.
Yep.
Um,
On 2 feet.
on 2 feet. I think this model is very ugly, and it makes me want to like. It feels weird because it's not super symmetrical. Like one side he's like kind of hunched over with all these giant weird tentacles,
Yeah.
and at the same time, I love it because it feels super chaotic, and that's what it's supposed to be.
It's a cool
Like he is,
model, and it's
it's
just
a
it's disturbing.
really really cool model. I'm just saying, like, ideally, I would have never like if you said draw your version of Withergrass Drool and we'll publish it. It would have never even came close to like this lumpy one-sided. It's not one tentacle; it's like three big giant tentacles all wrapped up.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
Now the problem I think with us, like again, we both like it, but the previous Withergrass Double Drool was probably one of the better Star Player models.
Yeah, it was really cool too. Um, this one makes me like want to build this model
Go for it.
and get it painted because I don't want to paint it. But anyways, it is really cool. And hats off to GW. Now I'm sure this is a $30 or $40 model. I don't know the price,
I guess we could probably
but
check out real quick.
I'm sure it's not cheap knowing it's a GW model. Um,
I don't
are
know
you
what you're
looking that
talking
up?
about. GW is always cheap, especially through Forge World.
Are you looking that up right now?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Also, I don't have much else to say about Wither Trouble Jewel except I really want to open him up and build him and keep him forever because he looks amazing. And then we have these guys, what everybody knows about Dribble and Drool, little
Yep.
skinks, the skink twins. One was Stab and
So
one
surprisingly,
has
Wither Grasp is $36, and Dribble and Drool are 41.
same amount of plastic. But no, I get it. Oh, there's one more base in this one. That's why. Dribble and Drool, if I remember correctly, one has a knife and the other one is like a dirty player guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I actually kind of like these models too. Now, I don't really like that they're the one guy's on his tail like in a karate chop move,
Yeah,
but it looks like he's grounded to the ground fairly well from
yeah,
what I can
because it's part
tell.
his tail goes into the rock.
So I do like that part. I mean, actually, at first I was so on these models, and the more I've looked at them over this past feels like a month and a half, is I kind of really like both of these models. They're getting my Scott approval thumbs up, even though I'd rather the lizards be on 2 feet. But
I like him a lot.
at
I like
least,
the one with the knife a lot. The other one's
yeah,
okay, but Knifey Boy's really cool.
yeah, they're nice additions. Good models. I mean, I'm going to tell you everything's overpriced from GW, but I'm going to tell you everything's overpriced in all the board games I buy too.
Well, yeah,
So
but you can buy a
yes,
full board game for $41 versus two figures.
well, that's true. And I still tell you the board game sometimes is overpriced.
Yeah.
Thumbs up on these. Thumbs up on both of these. It's nice to see some star players getting some love. I don't really remember the sets at all on Withergrass Double Drool, so I don't know
You
if
just
like
took him
putting
to a
him
tournament.
together. Not Withergrasp.
Oh, Withergrasp. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Withergrasp.
Yep.
I don't know if his stats are worth saying like, oh, I'd like to get this guy to the table, but with Dribble and Drool are really good for their value. So yeah, I can see those getting tournament action. So there's some other models you wanted to talk about too, Steve.
Yeah. GW released, or they showed, not released, the new Minotaur, Blackhoof. I guess old, but
Blackhoof.
um,
Always saying his name right.
yeah,
Blackhoof.
it's Grashnak Blackhoof.
Oh, that's right, Grashnak.
Yeah.
I'm so used to hearing
Yeah,
Grashnak before.
Grashnak.
Sorry.
So I don't know when he comes out. We did not get a copy of this guy. That would have been nice because he looks giant.
Yeah, that's probably why we didn't get one.
Probably.
They're like, nah, they're just the number one Blood Bowl podcast that don't need Grashnak.
Yeah. So
They
we
said Scott told me that we shit the bed on Amazon blockers, so he didn't get Grashnak. This model
yeah
looks really cool.
it does. It's giant. It's massive from what it looks like. Anyways, it's very sturdy. I don't like
But
that he has four horns. Why does he have
you
four
know,
horns?
I heard other people saying that too, and I cannot believe Mr. Second and Third Edition. I'm okay with this.
Why?
I don't know why. I maybe because he just stands out of slightly different and like I feel like a lot of especially the old star players in third and fourth edition type models,
Yeah.
it could be another blitzer or they could be Griff. They could be my Minotaur for
Yeah.
my Chaos Dwarf team, or they could be Grashnak. To me, this one has just enough tiny flair that he is 100% I am a star player. No questions asked. And I mean, you could use him for your chaos team if you really wanted to, and say that my chaos, my chaos minotaur has extra horns because he's really chaotic. I mean, you could justify it, but more than anything, I feel like he stands out as this is just the star player. This is not
Okay.
something you should sub in. This guy just stands on his own, and maybe I'm just like in a good place with some of these models lately, or maybe I'm just really thrilled that he doesn't have a ball in his hand
Yeah.
and his feet are both on the ground.
So, in honor of that, let's talk about Gored by the Bull. Once per game, when Grashnak performs a blitz action, he may roll one additional block dice against the opposition player, regardless of the opposition player's strength, to a maximum of 3 block dice. If Grashnak performs a second block action due to Frenzy skill, this second block action will also benefit from this rule. So that's, the double horn, twin horned blitz that they mention in the write up.
I didn't read the write up. I just saw the model.
Right.
I haven't,
So,
I haven't read anything. So you're telling me if he versus somebody with equal strength, no matter what, he gets an extra dice.
yeah.
Is that right?
hmm
Okay.
Also, when may one additional block against the opposition player, regardless of that player's strength. So, if let's say you were going uphill, right?
Okay.
So somehow you're going up against someone with 7 strength, a loony.
Okay.
So then do you have to throw the 3? It says may, so I guess you don't have to. Okay, so that answers that question, I guess.
Okay.
Because that would have been weird. Like,
Tell you what, whoever painted this model is just unreal.
yeah.
Like the little like tattoo on his like boob, the chaos symbol in this one picture. I mean,
So
dang.
what also bugs me, and this is probably trivial, look further down, like where the gourd by the bull is.
Hold on, gored by the bull. Yeah, he doesn't have four horns there.
Sure
I
doesn't. Doesn't look
now
anything like the model.
that's their dumbasses for that. I mean that is a terrible idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, but if you're going to do it, then make it match. That's my only issue.
I agree. And they probably didn't have artwork of this one, like a painted artwork like this is.
Yeah, of course.
So,
And
no,
then,
I like the like I said, I like the model.
yeah. Oh, I like it too. Like I said, I think it's really awesome. It just, I don't
My
like.
question is this them adding something underneath this left foot here, or is that coming with the model? Like
Probably
that
coming with
stuff
the
that he's
model.
kind of that he's standing on. Okay,
Yeah.
I hope so. That
Because
looks
the
cool.
Norse do that too, and like the other star players have that too.
Okay,
Just adds stability, I guess. Uh, so
good.
speaking
We
of
need that.
figures and stars, the World Cup put out the one figure that everyone's getting this year, which
Yeah,
I guess is
which
just
is
one
ironically enough
figure,
is
and it's a Minotaur,
yeah. I
which
thought that was weird.
it makes sense it's a Minotaur because they've Spain, bulls their logo
No,
and all that.
I saw both of them. I think within 24 hours. I
Right.
could be
Yeah.
crazy on that, but I think that's where the irony hit.
So I didn't want to bring this up on World Cup Report because I try to be positive over there. Um, but I've had people ask me like, well, "What do you think of it?" Like, and pretty much everyone's of the same opinion. Eh, it's fine, but it's a
I
Minotaur.
mean,
There's nothing here that's special. And again, I'm not knocking anyone who did this or that likes it, but this
what
is
do you
my
mean?
opinion.
It's just too general to you? I
This
mean,
is
it
a
looks like it's
World
really
Cup
cool.
figure, right? Does
Yeah.
anything on there say Spain?
Oh, you're saying like have something for so it's Blood Bowl and like slightly hints that there's a
The
like a
last
connection to the tournament.
the last World Cup did a full team, individual models, all based on Austrian folklore.
I understand that. Then they went to the extreme. I get
Yeah,
what you're saying now a little bit because here's where I've had a slight, like, really thing. Remember how when we went to Chaos Cup, we wanted to get that metal miniature? That
oh
was
yeah,
really important to me because it came out of the fluff.
of course.
And near the very end of it all, Tom was still donating a figure.
Hmm.
And part of me was like, is this just a donation of a Blood Bowl figure or is it connected to the fluff? Because I
Right.
don't feel like it's connected to the fluff at all. Just explain it to me so my little,
Why
you
are
know,
we getting this little weird Wolverine dude? Yeah.
weird Wolverine dude, the like ogre with the not really shoulder pads, but
Yeah.
I guess they kind of were. And it's not a knock; it's a free miniature,
Of
and
course. Yeah.
I've gave those to people who really like those, and I even have the other one, the Wolverine guy painted. But I just didn't feel like those were designed to be
Part
what
of
it
the chaos
started
scene.
out to
Yeah.
be, and I was trying to figure out like, are we continuing this tradition or are we not? And I get from that angle. I mean, it looks. I think it's a fine model.
Yeah.
It just looks like a third party. Oh, you need an ogre or a minotaur for your team. Here you go.
Exactly.
Now I don't.
And even the Minotaur that they use for the logo, like this is nitpicky probably, but it doesn't have hair. This one has hair, has a mohawk.
I mean, I'm
Their logo is
not.
cartoony. I get it, but I would rather we had a
It'd been a
cartoony
cartoony.
one that looks just like it than this.
from that angle, Steve, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So yes, I get what you're saying.
And again,
Um,
I'm trying to be
I'm
negative.
sure I'm sure somebody made this digital file or whatever because I'm sure it's 3D printed and stuff,
Yeah.
and they just went with this. And it looks, you know, it looks like to me, and I could be crazy because I don't play World of Warcraft all the time or ever. I used to play the card game, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm basing this off my memory of the World of Warcraft art from the card game cards. It looks like a World of Warcraft Minotaur. So people like Jennifer, who still
Yeah.
play World of Warcraft, would love this Minotaur. And you know, me and you were like, okay, it's just a generic Minotaur. And I get what you're saying. It's not a bad model. You're not saying that. You're just saying like,
This is the World Cup. That's what I'm saying. Is like this is the premier event for the next 4 years. The giant gathering of 2,200 coaches, the largest gathering of Blood Bowl coaches ever, period, by a lot.
by a lot.
And this is what we get to denote, to remember our experience by. Like this.
I
I
get
put
it.
that in a box with other Minotaurs, I would not be able to pick it out.
I get you.
Now, they did release a pitch, and the pitch is really cool looking. Um, it's neoprene, looks like a thinner neoprene than we're getting on ours from Jack, but it's able to be folded up real easy, so a lot easier to travel with than the last one, that's for sure.
Okay.
But it uses the old style as well, and maybe this is just their thing. Remember before we got involved, which is strange to think about that it was us that did this, but how the
Well, we're flip.
sidelines and stuff used to all be on one side,
Uh huh.
and now they're split.
Yes.
Yeah, that was us. But this one has them
Yes.
all on one side now.
Why?
I don't know. Now there's a
Uh,
bigger area in the middle between the two sidelines to have more printed info, like kickoff
okay.
tables and stuff, maybe. But I'm not a fan. You can only play it long ways. It's,
Hmm.
again, a nitpick, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it bugs me.
It is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I think what we did by flipping those so people could play north and south or east and west with their field was a brilliant idea. And
Mm-hmm.
to my knowledge, yes, we were the first ones to. I remember when we were dealing with those people getting those fields made. I took the Photoshop thing because they were having a hard time understanding what I
Yeah.
said, and I just cobbled it together like cut and paste and layers and flip and this and that, and then they're like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, we can.
We were
Why
dealing
would
with
you want
FF
that?
Fields the
And then
first
once
time.
we did that, everybody was like, "That's brilliant." So
Mm-hmm. It's pretty crazy. Like I said, FF Fields, they legitimately did not understand what we were saying.
hmm
So,
and okay, I mean, I 100% get what you're saying. I'm going to argue, and people are wrong if this happened. I think a cartoony bull like the one in the logo would have been amazing,
yeah, I think it'd be
or
better.
the same model, but two different heads. You could have this head
Hmm.
and that. Now I know that costs a lot more. It's probably really hard to design and 3D print, but man, that would be really cool.
Ultimately, cost shouldn't matter at this point. Like, I'm not being crass, but you've got 2,200 people paying 100 and some dollars to get, almost $200 a piece probably to get this. And this is going to sound bad, but I mean, quote unquote, all we're getting is a pitch and a one figure and some dice. Doesn't seem like a lot. Obviously, food and the venue and blah 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 blah. And I get that. I get that. I totally get it. But
You're saying you don't feel like you're getting the value that you got last time. Because last time you got a whole team, right?
yeah, and it's not of
Hmm.
equal quality, I guess. Like I said, it just
But maybe your
frustrates me,
experience is
and a
going to
lot
be
of people.
amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe the buildings that you're at cost
Oh, I'm
more. I
sure.
mean, we
And
just
like I
don't
said,
know that.
we've ran plenty of tournaments. People don't question. Everything has a cost. We completely get that. But, okay.
I feel you. I got you. I get what you're saying.
Eh,
You're not trying to be a jerk. You're just like, eh.
not trying to go all Scott on this. Hey, well,
Uh,
I don't think we know of any other figures coming out anytime soon. We've not gotten anything. Or maybe we have. We
No, and
can't
I
tell
haven't
you, but
even
we
I
haven't.
haven't heard crap
No.
through the rumor bill either. So I'd like to say like I've heard something good's coming, but I haven't.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the last time I heard that, none of those things have panned out. So I don't even know if that's true. Last time I thought about 8 to 9 months ago, man. I thought I had a good scoop on some stuff, and boy,
Jeez.
nothing has really happened since. So
Who knows?
yeah,
Hey, well, let's go ahead and wrap this
I
up.
thought my source was good, but I guess not.
Nope, your source is dead.
Oh, that's terrible. All right, let's wrap this up and come back to the mystery segment.
Okay, we are back, and I had this idea. Scott's doing very inappropriate things on the webcam. So
we got a new mic, so when I bend down to talk on this thing, I can see my picture, and it looks exactly what you think it looks like.
and I even told him, don't bend down. I have it set to where you're at, but he still likes to make it look bad.
No, this is the first time I've done this
I
the
know.
whole podcast, and I
know.
wanted to do it now.
Anyways.
You throw mystery segments at me, I stimulate things for you.
That's fair.
And stimulate them.
So, Fabricators Forge. Like I said, that guy, whoever it is, they own the whole building. They've got it set up how they like. I was really, really, really like the place. Mystery segment question. If you had not unlimited funds, but good-sized funds, what would your dream store, game store, comic store, whatever, be?
I've ever since I was a kid, and this is gonna sound like really lame. I'd probably stick to my first answer, even though it's been taken several years ago.
Okay.
Madness Comics in Plano.
Mm-hmm.
We've always said since we started buying comics, and the Walmart moved out of this one location and moved to a new location, that we talked about like it would be great to take this old Walmart location and have a comic store called Comic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And we'd have just millions of comics now this is before we were heavy into gaming and all this stuff. This is back dreams of like a 7th grader.
Mm-hmm.
And always been the dream of that. And then that is why Madness Comics and Games, or whatever it's called, Madness in Plano, Texas, is just an incredible thing to me, especially at first. I think like they still have a lot of stuff, but now their stuff is I'm not as interested in as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
As they've gotten to more pops and stuff like that. But that doesn't matter. The feeling I got walking into Madness is the feeling I imagined as a kid, having a building, a grocery store sized building that was nothing but comics and stuff like that. So I'd probably stick to that ideally. I'm sure that you've had that long drive and you thought, if I had money, I would do this or this.
I mean, is there anything special that you'd add? Because I know that there are a lot of things that whenever we go places, we're both of the mindset of how could we make things better? What would we do different?
Oh, I do that all the time, even to Wizards.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on a big kick since we found out that Tuesday morning's going out of business next door.
They are?
Brian, I'm
Legit?
telling Brian right now, I was like, you need to take over that whole space
Yes.
or rent the next half of the building over. If I was,
my God,
it's easy for me to spend his money because I don't have his money and I don't know what his money is to rent, but I would just move the whole store and have twice the area.
Someone mentioned that on Discord, and I thought they were crazy.
No,
so I thought there's no way that place is going to come out of business.
Company is going out of business.
Wow.
It's not that store. That store is always busy.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
But the whole company is going out of business, so there you
Man.
go. Anyways, so yes, I do get what you're saying.
That would be amazing.
You're throwing this at me without a lot of thought.
Right, which is what I wanted, because otherwise we can get way too in the car, I mean, so like your grocery store idea. I've also thought of that before. I always thought it was interesting, like an old Eckerd's or drugstore, because they have the drive up. You have the drive through.
Yeah,
I always thought it'd be cool, like on a Wednesday, if I want to get my books, go
Who
go
just
through the
go through the
drive-through.
drive-through?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So,
I mean that would be cool.
but then you don't have people coming in; they don't spend extra money and blah blah blah. But
Yeah,
typically, those are people who are going to come in sometime anyways, just to look.
right.
Uh, when I was younger, and I was coming back from the comic book store one day, and they're building this building, and at the corner of this intersection, I thought that would be a cool place to have a comic book store. I didn't know what it was, because it was going up. Ended up being 3 stories. It ended up being a bank, with title companies and all this BS. But at that time, my idea was have at least 3 stories, vertical integration of the ideas. And I can
Okay.
go real crazy because I kept going crazier and crazier as I added more levels in my head. Um, First floor would be your basic new comics, new toys, new product, your welcoming area for the casual person. So, you got your t shirts, you got your toys, you got a nice, bright, open area, plenty of place to walk through. Second story would be your gaming area. So you have it all full of tables, you've got your cards and stuff on the walls, middle area is all for gaming, and that. Third floor would be more for the high end stuff. So you've got your high end comics, your expensive back issues, your expensive, things that, you don't want anyone messing around with. And in my mind, like half of that, and then half of it maybe a kitchen to where you can like make stuff and bring it down to the people playing games. And then the super
Huh.
crazy idea was the fourth story would be a strip club and it'd be comic book themed. So you'd have strippers dressed as comic book characters and all that. And, just whatever. Just like how can we get everyone's full paycheck? And that kind of does it. Gaming, comics, food, strippers, movie theater, who knows. But I think it'd be more fun, like you said, probably truthfully, because that's just not going to happen. You get a big space and try to organize it and make it what you want. Man, if Wizards could get that other area, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I, you know, there's a lot of these stores around here that they all have kind of separate good ideas, and I
Mm-hmm.
think if one store would take the best parts, and I don't know, but I go back to that, and that's why I think Madness was such a, when I first walked in, I was like, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time there, I think I spent 4 to 6 hours, 8 hours, something like that. And then me and Jen went back like the next day and spent all day there again because there was a lot of stuff to look
Yeah.
through, and it's exactly what I wanted. And they had people there who were willing to help you. Now nowadays, try to go into that store without anybody trying to help you is like kind of like a game. You try to avoid them because there's so many of them, and
Yeah.
honestly, they're bored out of their mind. They're hoping that they can help you find something.
And it's
And
weird, like,
most of the time, I know what their store layout is more than some of the employees, but that's okay.
and it's
But
weird too because I've been going to that store since 3 previous locations, and I've seen it grow into that. Um, First time I went to it was when I was a HeroClick level 4 judge or whatever, and I was checking up on the store there running a HeroClick event, and it was just a
oh,
tiny
really?
little store with like room for a little bit of gaming in the back, but super tiny. Um, but yeah, and once I got to that giant store, I've seen how it's gone from intense comic backlog and tons of tables and a little bit in the back area to, and they just keep changing it time and time again, trying to keep with trends and by pops, or they had a store in there inside the store that sold clothing and cosplay stuff for a while, and it's just weird.
So I guess I just thought of extra stuff that I would do because
Yeah.
this is part of when we decided to move Wizards, and he was asking my opinions. I wanted Here's what I would have my store be. One, it would be like a grocery store type store if
Mm-hmm.
I could afford that. And some of the things I'm mentioning now, I mentioned to Brian, and we talked about like, yeah, maybe we can do that. I suggested for Wizards that we have a couple of monitors throughout the board game section or in the comic section too, where you go to YouTube and you make up a list of board games. Or it's like Rodney Smith from Watch It Played, where he just teaches games or plays through games.
Mm-hmm.
Because I figured a patron would come in and they would look up and maybe get caught up into like, oh, that kind of sounds cool.
Yeah.
Because that just happens naturally. So
Mm-hmm.
I think having that on the screens just in the background might get a few extra sales, or somebody who's in there to maybe relax just because their wife is shopping somewhere else. They actually watch it and then they're like, oh, maybe I'll buy that. And then at night you could play a Star Wars movie or something like that in the background occasionally, but mainly board games and stuff like that. I would also have TVs, big TVs in the like gaming section where you play Magic or you do Warhammer or stuff like that. I would make it a kind of a nerdy sports bar where, for example, Wizards is in Norman, Oklahoma, home of the Oklahoma College Sooners, and football's a big deal. Game days are big deals. The city shuts down, everybody goes to the games, everybody's watching the games, and while you can say the typical nerd doesn't care about sports, more and more so they keep up with stuff because they go to school there or whatever. So they could be like, I'm going to get out of my side of town that's overwhelmed by all these fans coming in, and I'm going to go to Wizards today and play some Commander, and the game is on in the background that I can sit and watch. I've always wanted that, and we haven't took those couple of steps that I was hoping that we would. It is more work, and you might have a few more people just hanging out, but at the same time, most of our patrons and customers, if they hang out, they're gonna buy stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, if I'm at a place I'm hanging out, I tend to at least buy a drink or something.
That's what I would do in addition to having that big thing. So me and you wanted to play Blood Bowl, but we also wanted to watch the Cubs game. There's a couple TVs there, and since they don't have anything planned on this Saturday, hey, me and Steve's here playing Blood Bowl. Anyway, we could change it to the Cubs game, and they'll go, sure, no problem. Nobody's watching anything right now, or there's not a Magic World event going on that they're recording and we could stream. But I don't know how hard that is either. But we're talking in an ideal situation where we could just do these things.
And also,
that's what I would do.
As big as Wizards is, and it's a lot bigger than he almost went to, because he almost went to a small store. They're like, dude, you can't do that. You got to have a big one. So, as big as it is, it's still kind of small when it comes to workable area. Because you have to have places for the product. You have to have, and now the expansion of the back issues.
Right.
So, yeah. Man, that'd be really cool if you got that area.
I'm hoping. I finally convinced him into, he's going to ask about it.
Good.
At least ask about it. He went over there and he noticed that, like, if he just took the next little section over, it also includes more bathrooms.
I was going to say, they do have bathrooms over there, yeah.
And water fountains. So, anyways, we thought that was cool. So I hope that we're talking about Wizards expanding and stuff like that. But
cool.
We will see.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I know if we planned it out, we both could have much better answers for that. But I just figured, because everyone does. I'm sure everyone listening has in their mind what they would do if they came across $1 million and could just open up a store.
Yeah, I agree.
And we've had, Scott Hess has talked about opening one. Gary's talked about opening one. Our buddy Sarge up in Iowa wants us to open one up there. And I was like, you got the rich friend. Have the rich friend budget it, and we'll do it.
Yeah. Leland used to talk about it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Chance finally bought a store, so.
Not Jeff. John Breeze.
Yeah.
He had his set up for a while. But, okay. Well, I figured that was an interesting one, so.
Okay, we're going to come back with some shout-outs and get you out of here.
It's the time for the final part of the segment or the show, the final segment of the show, the end of the show, and Scott's taking it.
Shoutouts!
Damn it.
Was that too?
He was taking. No, you're fine.
I pulled
He,
away from the mic.
he was taking a deep breath. I was trying to see how long he'd hold it. And now Scott's fellatiating the mic again.
It really is funny. Like, if you were smart, you would have recorded that and used it against me for the rest of my life.
No one wants it.
You're right about that.
So shout out first of all to AJ for running the event. Everyone at Fabricators Forge, everyone at the event. It was a fun time. I'll complain day and night that vampires should never be third tier, but that's what it is, and it worked. I had some bad luck. I just want to go to a tournament and get a trophy of some sort. That's not too much to ask, I don't think.
I mean, you've won some sometimes.
I have, but it's been a while. It's been a long while.
All right. Maybe you can go to more tournaments soon.
I should. Need to. Shout out to GW again for sending the free models, Wither Grasp and or Double and Dribble and Drool. If we didn't make it clear, they were provided to us for free. Doesn't change what we think, never does, but it's always nice.
And these are like, so quite a bit. Thank you for sending those. I'm sure Grashnak is on his way, so well, I'll just keep checking the mail. And maybe the Amazon blocker position is perfectly built, and that's why I need a Grashnak.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe I was totally wrong.
No. Moon Webster.
What other shouts you got?
Moon wrote in about the San Diego SoCal Scramble. It's September 16th at Off the Shelf Games. It's the first NAF approved tournament of 2023 in San Diego, which of the autumn sports league season, I guess.
Nice.
So let me read this. There's free limited edition miniature and in-game bonus inducement for all paid entries. 3-round, 1.2 with tiered base skill packages. Does allow Teams of Legend, including Slan. Early bird registration before September 1st. Regular after until the morning of the tournament. Bonus loot for the first 5 NAF registered players that sign up before July 16th. Believe they get extra dice. And then you can send your roster or any questions to SoCalScrambleTournament@gmail.com. SOCAL ScrambleTournament@gmail.com.
All right. San Diego's nice. That'd be a cool tournament to travel to.
It's actually truthfully in El Cajon, which is where my grandfather lived for most of his life. And my dad lived there for a while.
The mean one?
Yeah, the mean one. If I ever talk about my grandpa,
these eggs.
Yeah, if I ever talk about my grandpa, it's that one because I have no concept of the other one. He existed, but I met him maybe last time I saw anyone in Maine I was 8, maybe. So, no real concept.
These eggs suck. They're too salty.
Mm-hmm. We make them the same exact way, and they're fine.
Yeah, well, you gotta make them right.
That's just how the life goes.
As Scott retreads trauma, Steve's life.
God,
with his grandfather.
No doubt. Chris A, aka Moltar, and he runs Blunt Brush Studio.
Isn't Moltar a Space Ghost villain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I told him he needs a Zorak to prowl around with.
Yeah, he does. That'd be awesome. Okay, go ahead.
So he also does Blunt Brush Studio on Instagram. He used to live in Tulsa. He's been listening to us since 2017, and said he's trying to get down to Oklahoma sometime, so that'd be cool. But he wrote in saying how much he enjoys us and everything, so I just figured to give him a shout out. GW sent a question asking if we were going to any of the U.S. Opens, and I kind of forgot they were happening. You know, the Kansas City one's on June 2nd to 4th.
Yeah, I keep thinking like that could be messing with some Oklahoma Bowl attendance.
I don't think so. I think people just slow in signing up as always.
Um, I would love to go to some of these events. I just can't afford them
Yeah,
right now. It's just it really is
and
that I'm trying to build everything back up because I know band season's coming up
hmm
and my other daughter's in band and it's
like
just
like I don't even know if Left's running it. Do we know?
I honestly I don't know that. I mean like I don't
I don't
know.
know anything about these events.
I know it's just a few weeks away, and I've already thought about like it's bothered me. Like I get the itch to be like, maybe I could just drive up Friday and right after work, and then go play, and then it's 2 days, and I just don't know. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I wish it would, but realistically, it's be a miracle by this point.
There's also
So
one in Tacoma, July 14th to 16th, and one in Tampa later on in the year. So,
right before or right after Chaos Cup, I can't remember which.
I don't remember either.
So
But other than that, I think that's all I had. Do you have any shout outs?
well, I did.
But,
But I have to not say it. I was gonna give a shout out to like I got this package in the mail and it is full of these amazing things. And I was like, who sent this? And it was from Brian Mitchell. And then I was like, I don't know why he gave me these, but this is really nice. And it's really weird because Brian Mitchell does this G.I. Joe show, All American Brian.
yeah.
And I've been trying to get these. They released some GI Joe versus Cobra comics for Joe Cons when they used to have GI Joe conventions. There was like 11 issues, and I've been slowly trying to get those. Well, the last two are really hard because probably a lower print run and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And every eBay auction I could find them with came with like a GI Joe collector box, or this other one came with this signed. It was signed by like 12 different people from
Hmm.
Hasbro and like Larry Hama and all these signatures on this pictures. It was like a one picture with a bunch of little pictures, almost like a high school yearbook,
Yeah.
and everybody had a signature on them. But all these auctions were like $50, and all I wanted was the comic. But the comic is so scarce. If you do see it, it's usually for more most of the time. Now somebody's gonna eBay look now and tell me there's one for $10,
Of
and I don't want to
course.
hear about it. Stop it, Steve, because I know that's
I,
what you're doing.
nope.
And I before I got that package in from Brian Mitchell, I told Jennifer, I was like, I'm gonna send these secretly to Brian so he'll get them and he'll be surprised. And if he wants to show them on his YouTube show or keep them
Yeah.
or give them away to somebody, he can, because if I keep this, like I want to keep them because they look cool, but at the same time I have enough clutter that I'm trying to control. So I thought, I'm just going to send those to him. Well, I was mad because I was like, he sent me all this cool Blood Bowl stuff and he beat me to the punch. And now it's going to look like I'm, retaliating free gifting. And I was really mad at him. And then I finally mentioned to you that Brian Mitchell sent me this stuff. And you were like, I bought this from Brian Mitchell. They're for the tournament. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this stuff's for the tournaments. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah, I
And
told
then
you
I
that a
was
long time ago. You just must have forgot. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know.
Oh, I definitely forgot.
But, yeah.
Um,
It's a full set of
so
novels that we'll be giving away. Unless Scott wants to keep them.
we'll see. That's what I was being vague about
Ah.
to her. Um, anyways, so I was gonna give him a big shout out. I will give a big shout out to Roger Oman, who used to play up in Tulsa, moved to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He sent me a bunch of like comics. I got the free comic
Nice.
hookup that Steve used to get all the time. Like, you
Sweet.
like comics? How about this? So I think Roger definitely likes me more than Steve, which is great because I need a few fans. But he's like, yeah, I can send these comics. My kid doesn't seem interested. I'm gonna send them to you, and I'm like, oh god, because I'll keep them all. I just can't throw away stuff that like I don't need,
Of course.
like the GI Joe stuff. I'd rather pay $20 to ship them somewhere
Mm-hmm.
for somebody else to throw away than me. Anyways, but there's some cool stuff in there, and I'm gonna keep what I want to keep. Gary went through it as well. He's asked if he could have a few books or if I was interested, and I said you can take them. And then I'm gonna find a home for the rest of them. So not going to be any issue whatsoever getting rid of these. There's some cool. There's like a Battlestar Galactica number 1 and 2 and
Huh.
3 in there. Now they're not worth anything really, but they're also not easy to find. So it's one of those weird books that like, the value is like $5 if you're a collector. But I'm keeping those just because you don't see those too often in good shape, and they're from the 70s, so it's kind of neat.
Well, I saw him last at a pinball festival, so I guess, I mean, he doesn't really need to send me anything. But fine, you get all the fun stuff.
Sorry,
No,
bro.
it's fair. I mean, I sold all my comics, so whatever.
Sorry, bro. Speaking of that, you really should read some of the new DC stuff since they did this new Dawn of DC, like relaunch of some number ones.
Been
and stuff.
tempted, but not at $5
There's
a
some
piece.
stuff that, well, there's some stuff that's really pretty decent. Even the Shazam book's really cool. So
yeah, and
I
again,
know there's a new Green Lantern one, but I didn't
I
read that one.
I went to the comic store the other day. I have been picking up some old Green Lanterns, the '80s stuff. Nothing past the end of the second series. But no, I'm not picking up new stuff. Just I'm not spending $5 on one comic. Or if I am, I'm going to get an old one.
I got you. No worries. You become that guy.
Yep.
Nostalgia man.
It was better. Duh.
Yep. You've totally turned into one of those, boomer.
No, that's fine. I'll accept it.
It's okay. No, I don't think I have any more shout outs. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. But
okay.
No. We're good. We're good to go, my man.
This is probably a longer side of the episode, so enjoy. And we'll be back probably shortly with an Oklahoma Bowl primer because it's that time of year.
I mean, everybody should have their rosters in by then, but yeah, we'll just kind of go over that.
Hopefully.
Again.
We'll see.
All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful day. And you too, Steve.
You too. Bye.
You too.
You can follow Both Down on Twitter at Both Down. You can follow Scott at
Real Scott Prime
and Steve at Kilowog2814. If you'd like to email them, the email address is bothdownpodcasts@gmail.com. Or for more information, you can visit them at bothdown.com or at facebook.com/bothdown.
You know, a lot of prospective brides ask me these days, Father, what is the church's attitude to fellatio? And I tend to reply by telling them a little story about the first time I was asked that question. It was a couple of years ago now, and a young, attractive bride-to-be came up to me after a service and asked me just that question. Father, what is the church's attitude to fellatio? And I replied, well, you know, Joanne, I'd like to tell you, but unfortunately, I don't know what fellatio is. And so she showed me. And ever since, whenever anyone has asked me the question, Father, what is the church's attitude to fellatio? I always reply, well, you know, I'd like to tell you. But unfortunately, I don't know what fellatio is.